Hello, I'm Jeffrey Kerr back here with Alex Meyer to discuss our awards predictions this week. And now we'll be discussing the SAG nominations on the TV side. So, starting with drama ensemble. Okay, what I currently have predicted are The Handmaid's Tale, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, The Crown, and This Is Us. What about?
I have the same lineup, but in a different order. I have The Handmaid's Tale in first place, Stranger Things in second, Game of Thrones in third, This Is Us in fourth, and The Crown in fifth.
Hmm. Yeah, you might have just convinced me to move This Is Us up a notch, and yeah, and I guess it is worth noting to keep an eye out on Stranger Things since it won the ensemble last year, especially with David Harbour making his epic political speech, which earns
Mm-hmm.
lots of standing ovations from everyone in the room.
Mm-hmm. Um, yes, and I have Game of Thrones in third because it seems every time we predict Game of Thrones will win, it doesn't. Like I
Mm.
predicted it would win in 2016, and Downton Abbey won again, I believe.
And we all predicted it to win last year.
You know, and then Stranger Things won. So so I don't think voters love the show as much as the Emmys do. But I mean, who knows? The fact that it came back after a long hiatus, maybe
And
that
it is
finally
and it is in one of its final season or two.
it's got one more season after this.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but I have This Is Us in fourth rather than fifth because it's still pulling in strong ratings, viewers coming back for more, and it still gets people talking because a lot of shows often lose momentum after the first season, but This Is Us isn't,
Hmm.
or hasn't, I should say. And we know it's got at least one more season left because they renewed it. They renewed it for two more seasons back in the spring. Although I'm sure if the ratings still remain as they do after the third season, they'll probably renew it for a couple more because
Hmm.
I'm sure they'll probably try to get at least maybe 5, 6, or 7 seasons out of the show because they always pack it with such juicy material.
Hmm.
Seasons
Yes.
will be enough for it.
Yes, so now on to drama actor.
All right, and yeah, and we should note that quite a lot of the time the SAG Awards for the TV side is a lot like the Emmys, where they often nominate many of the same individuals over and over again, but maybe put in one or two new people. But there's one person who, had he not been exposed as a sexual predator, I would have predicted him once again, and that would be Kevin Spacey. But
Well,
because he's now fallen from grace, I'm not going to predict him this time.
well, yeah. Plus, he already has two SAG awards for House of Cards, so he at least has those two to keep an eye on.
All right. All right, so my current predictions as of right now are I have Sterling K. Brown for This Is Us in first place, Peter Dinklage for Game of Thrones in second, because he's always been nominated for the past couple years,
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul in third, Milo Ventimiglia for This Is Us in fourth, and James Franco for The Deuce in fifth.
Ooh, interesting. Because I recently moved Franco out of my predictions to put Milo Ventimiglia in, and well, I mean, and I have David Harbour in there for fourth place right now, especially given his speech from last year that I could, see, I guess SAG.
Well, now that I think about it, I might actually go in there and I might actually switch James Franco for David Harbour. I think I'll do that once we're done here.
Okay, so yeah, so I guess what's the best you can make on Franco and Ventimiglia as possibilities for nomination?
I think Milo Ventimiglia has a good chance because he got the Emmy nomination, and the whole theme, and one of the big themes of This Is Us is spoiler alert, how did his character Jack die?
Hmm.
And they kind of revealed how he did, but now it's like, what were the circumstances leading up to his death?
Hmm.
Plus, his character Jack Pearson has now become the new favorite TV dad. Like they're making a lot of comparisons of Jack Pearson to all the other iconic TV dads of the past and trying to figure out where would he rank amongst them. Is Us, and a lot of This Is Us fans are always making comments like, Jack is exactly like my dad, or I wish my dad was like Jack. People either had a dad like Jack Pearson or they want to have a dad like him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just the fact that This Is Us has resonated with so many people in a way that regular broadcast network shows rarely do anymore, I think that could really help it.
Yes, and okay, so well, and I guess what's the case you can make for Franco, that he's a movie star on television?
Right, and the fact that his show, The Deuce, it's a show made by the same guy who made The Wire, and that show is always an underperformer at various award shows, even though it's considered by many to be one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And The Deuce, I mean, it was an instant hit with critics and got immediately renewed for a second season. And it's a period drama as well, since it's set in the 1970s.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the one aspect that might hurt it is the fact that it's largely centered around the porn industry. But then again, Boogie Nights back in 1997, that was also about 70s, and that didn't stop it from getting major awards nominations.
Yeah. So I guess now on to a drama actress.
Okay, so and we should mention that the SAG Awards, for the comedy side, they have no distinction between lead and supporting. So as a result, you'll see people combined here who would normally be separated into lead and supporting at the Emmys, but here it's all just one category.
It's like that in all of the acting categories.
But on the film side of the SAG Awards, they break it into lead and supporting.
Well, I know. I meant on the TV side, they have no distinction between lead and supporting in any of the acting categories. It's just they combine them into all one category.
Right, that's what I was saying. Mm-hmm. All right, so as a result, I just based on what we've seen before at the other award shows and the SAG Awards' tendency to repeat themselves a lot, I have Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale in first place, Claire Foy for The Crown in second, Millie Bobby Brown for Stranger Things in third, Robin Wright for House of Cards in fourth, and Chrissy Metz for This Is Us in fifth.
I have 4 of those same 5. In fact, I agree. Robin Wright definitely a threat, especially since the final season will all be focused on her, since Spacey has been knocked out of the house. But yeah, although I don't know who to take out to put her in, because for my 5th place slot, I currently have that given to Viola Davis for How to Get Away with Murder, even though she didn't get in for that last year. I mean, she is. I mean, they still haven't. Well, of course, they already had an opportunity to nominate and award her for Fences last year, and she's just coming off of that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she still could be nominated, but I think the show itself, I mean, part of the reason, I think she's the main reason why the show's still on, because it's one of those shows that without the right actor probably would have been canceled a long time ago. Because How to Get Away with Murder, it's not necessarily regarded as like a great show. Like, it's not considered as great as like Game of Thrones or Stranger Things or The Handmaid's Tale. But Viola Davis, she is the one that keeps people coming back for more, because she knows how to deliver a knockout performance each week on that show. But I just think that the momentum of This Is Us and just all these other award shows will probably put her in like the 6th spot in terms of the votes.
That's a good point. Yeah,
because This Is Us has had so much emotional storylines, and Sterling K. Brown was the only nominee last year, and sometimes the SAG Awards are a little late to the party, so I think they'll want to make up for that by giving it a lot more nominations this year, and I think that would include giving a nomination to either Mandy Moore in the actress category, and I could see Mandy Moore possibly getting in, but I think it might be Chrissy Metz, just because her character, I know, went through some pretty emotional storylines, like a miscarriage.
Yeah. So now onto the comedy side. So best comedy ensemble. Let's see. Okay. So who do you currently have ranked in your predictions?
All right, I have Orange is the New Black in first place because it's won 3 times in a row, and the SAG Awards generally love to give the same award in the ensemble category over and over again because Modern Family won 4 times in a row, and every time we think something else will the New Black, it always comes back and wins. So I have a feeling it'll do so again, unless of course they feel Veep, which is my second place, needs a major IOU, especially since they revealed its next season will be its last one. But who knows? Maybe they might give it to Orange is the New Black one more time and then give it to Veep for its last season. Breaking Bad, they gave Breaking Bad the win for its final season. And then in third place, I have Will and Grace. Fourth place, I have Blackish. And in fifth place, I have Modern Family.
Okay, I have the same top four as you, except I know I may feel tempted and put Modern Family in, but I currently have Curb Your Enthusiasm taking the fifth slot.
Well, I just think that Modern Family, it keeps getting nominated every year, even though most people feel the show isn't as good as it was in the early seasons. But because it's still a ratings juggernaut, it's got at least one more season to go because they renewed it for 2 more seasons. So it'll be, I'm assuming, after this season, because it's in its 9th season, its 10th season, I'm guessing will probably be its last one. But just the fact that people still heavily watch it, and the fact that it's, it is very much an ensemble show because there's no really true main character in that show, that'll probably help it get nominated again here. Like, I predicted that it wouldn't be nominated last year, and yet it was.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I officially moved Modern Family into my predictions.
I might have considered, before the sexual harassment allegations against Jeffrey Tambor broke out, I might have considered not predicting Transparent, even though that got snubbed last year, but now I don't think it will be nominated.
Yeah, and I guess as an interesting segue to the next category, TV comedy actor, where I officially have Tambor moved out of my predictions because of his allegations, as well as the fact that he surprisingly lost last year to William H. Macy, who I currently have ranked in first place.
Oh, I actually don't have him in first. I actually think, I'm going to go, for me, I think Sean Hayes will win for Will and Grace because he's won a couple times before back during the show's original run, and I think that could help him win again here if the voters feel Will and Grace should win at least something. And I do have William H. Macy for Shameless in second place. Then I have Anthony Anderson for Blackish in third, Titus Burgess for Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt in fourth, and Aziz Ansari for Master of None in fifth.
Okay, so why do you not have Larry David in your predictions?
Again, I don't know how well his. I mean, it's been a long time since Curb Your Enthusiasm was on the air, and Master of None just got off a highly acclaimed second season, and I don't know if Aziz Ansari has been nominated here before. I know for the ensemble of Parks and Recreation he was, but I don't think he's ever been individually nominated for Master of None, correct?
Let me look it up real quick. You could be onto something there.
Is not, I think, and we don't know if Master of None will even return with a third season because Aziz Ansari has said the second might be its last. So if it truly is its last, then they'll definitely want to nominate him now.
And yes, and you're right. Aziz Ansari was not nominated last year,
or the year before, right? Well, yeah, it's only had 2 seasons, but yeah. So I think that could help, and Aziz Ansari get in, and again with Larry David, maybe if he does get snubbed, could possibly be due to the fact that his Saturday Night Live monologue got him widely slammed for being insensitive and inappropriate. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, was Larry David ever individually nominated at the SAG Awards for this, Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Let me look it up. I guess I never took that into account before.
I don't if he has, I know he never won. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now too. Okay, hold on.
Let's see.
Okay, Golden Globe.
Yeah, he was nominated individually for Curb Your Enthusiasm twice in 2006 and 2010.
Oh yeah, and he was also nominated. Well, he's technically was nominated 4 times in total because twice he was also nominated for ensemble.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, we'll see there, but
okay.
So
now, and
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I was just saying on to the next category.
Yeah, I was about to say something as well. TV comedy actress.
Okay, so I have Julia Louis-Dreyfus in first place for Veep. Then second place, I have Megan Mullally for Will and Grace. Third place, Tracy Ellis Ross for Blackish. Fourth place, Deborah Messing for Will and Grace. And fifth place, Uzo Aduba for Orange is the New Black.
Okay, and you do not have Lily Tomlin coming back for Grace and Frankie.
No, I'd have put her in sixth place if I could, because I just think that with Will and Grace coming back, I think they're going to nominate it in as many categories as possible, and I think that I don't think Tracy Ellis Ross was individually nominated last year, and I think they might make up for that this year. And I just think that, and since Uzo Aduba's been nominated almost every year, and Orange is the New Black always wins comedy ensemble, I don't think she'll be snubbed this time.
Good point.
So, like I said before, if they like you, they really like you, and they'll always keep nominating you, and sometimes always keep awarding you, like with Alec Baldwin winning like 7 times in a row for 30 Rock.
Yeah.
All right, now on to TV, movie, mini, actor, and of course, this is always interesting because, like all the other categories, we combine the lead and the supporting here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
currently, I have in first place, Alexander Skarsgård for Big Little Lies. Then second place, Robert De Niro for The Wizard of Lies. Third place, Ewan McGregor for Fargo. Fourth place, Alfred Molina for Feud, Betty and Joan. And fifth place, Jude Law for The Young Pope.
Okay, I have the same top 4, except my current 5th place position I have given to Kyle MacLachlan for Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm. I almost considered putting him in, but then I left him out because the original show of Twin Peaks, was canceled before the SAG Awards were even created. So
yeah, so
we have no idea how they're going to respond to this, because David Lynch, his taste is not for everybody. Some will love him, others will find him too bizarre. I have a lot more faith in the Golden Globes with Twin Peaks because they've proved how much they've really loved the show back when it was originally on the air. But of course, we could have had a whole new batch of voters now than there were in the early 90s. So if they're new voters, we don't know how they'll respond. But I know a lot of Twin Peaks fans seem to love the new, not reboot, I guess continuation, because a lot of the people, yeah, because most of the same people are back, plus a whole new bunch of guest stars who were never on the original Twin Peaks. So just because I don't know how they're going to respond to it, I've left Kyle MacLachlan out.
Yeah, he is kind of in untested territory here. And I just put Jeff Daniels into my predictions in 5th place for Godless.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was considering putting him in as well, but then I thought to myself, the SAG Awards often like to sometimes make up for snubs at the Emmys, which is why I think Jude Law could get in here.
Good point.
And that'll be the same thing for another person in the actress category, because quite often the SAG Awards will often a nomination to like for kind of like for the sake of sentimentality of like, oh, we love you so much, here's a nomination for you, kind of like what they did for Betty White for a TV movie called The Lost Valentine a few years ago, and she wasn't nominated at the Golden Globes or the Emmys for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess now on to the final category in the Prediction Center, Best Actress in a Miniseries or Movie.
Okay, so in first place, I have Nicole Kidman for Big Little Lies. Second, Jessica Lange for Feud, Betty and Joan. Third, Laura Dern for Big Little Lies. Fourth, Susan Sarandon for Feud, Betty and Joan. And fifth place, I have Oprah Winfrey for The Immortal Life of Henrietta
Oh,
Lacks.
that's a good, I guess, a bold choice, especially given how SAG nominated Oprah individually and an ensemble for The Butler several years ago.
Right, and I feel if any SAG voters were upset about her getting snubbed at the Emmys, they may feel that they want to make it up to her here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, though I currently have Carrie Coon taking the 5th slot for Fargo, and I guess especially since, again, whole visibility factor as we keep discussing, since she only had this past year, but also the final season of The Leftovers, and again, she's a more likely nominee as a member of the ensemble of The Post on the film side.
True, but Fargo hasn't really done as well at the SAG Awards as it has at the Golden Globes or the Emmys in terms of I don't think it's won any SAG Awards, so that might hurt it there. And plus, given that Oprah is Oprah, I just feel that the SAG voters may just feel just drawn to her because she's Oprah.
Well, true, and and again, we're only discussing nominations at this point, not potential. Well, not as much on the winners.
Right, but The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, it tells the real true story of, a woman who, many people will have never heard of, because Henrietta Lacks was an African American woman who died of cancer at a young age, and her cells were taken and they were used by scientists, and because they were trying to create cells that would never die, and they succeeded with hers, and her cells have helped in a lot of scientific developments over the years. Only, of course, they weren't really taken with her consent, and her husband and children had no idea what had happened. And Henrietta's daughter, Deborah, and she was the one who made it her life's mission to find out the truth about her mother's cells and what they've been done for humanity. And the whole book, that this movie was based on, which I read, is about the author helping Deborah find out the truth about her mother, because Deborah Lacks was only a baby when her mother died.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, very good point. And even though I probably won't end up predicting Oprah, I could still see it being possible.
Right. I figure, there's always at least one sentimental favorite of just someone who Hollywood and the general public just loves with adoration, like with Betty White a few years ago, and Oprah. Pretty much everyone loves Oprah, so,
Mm-hmm. So now we've gone through all nomination predictions weekend today, and SAG nominations will be announced on Wednesday. So I guess best of luck to everyone making their predictions, and hopefully we do the best we can.
All right. See everybody later.
Bye.